If you guys have been following me on this channel for a while, then you know that I can be hard on young quarterbacks in the NFL. Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, I've been hard on both of those guys. Now, some people think it's because I'm a hater. But the reason that I'm hard on Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott is because both of them have loads of talent around them, and they still can't find a way to consistently win. I'm not hard on Kyler Murray. I praise Kyler Murray all the time. Same with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I was high on Josh Allen last year when everyone was criticizing him for turning the ball over too much and poor decision making. I just told you guys yesterday that I feel like Josh Allen's in the MVP conversation so far this year. Sam Darnold is another young quarterback that I've given the benefit of the doubt. And the reason that I've given him the benefit of the doubt for so long is because he was drafted by a terrible organization. The New York Jets are embarrassing. For years, they have screwed up in the draft. I can't remember which year it was, 3 or 4 years ago. It might have been a bit longer than that. But the Jets drafted 8 or 9 players that year. And within 2 years, 90% of their draft selections weren't even in the NFL anymore. That's how bad the Jets have drafted. Sam Darnold, he doesn't have an Amari Cooper like Dak Prescott does in Dallas. He doesn't have a DeAndre Hopkins like Kyler Murray in Arizona. He doesn't have the benefit of a great head coach like Josh Allen does in Buffalo. It is the exact opposite for Sam Darnold. He is playing with scrubs, and he's playing for a head coach that is clearly unqualified and in way over his head. Adam Gase should have never been given this job with the Jets to begin with after his failure in Miami. He was almost fired last year after 8 games. His first year with the Jets, and there was already talk of him getting fired, talk of him losing the locker room. Sam Darnold actually saved his job by closing out the season going 6-2. Even with all of this stuff stacked against him, the conversation is starting to emerge again about whether or not Sam Darnold is a bust. Because in the NFL, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you're playing with a roster full of scrubs, if you have a bad head coach. When a team is struggling, 2 people are going to catch the bulk of the blame. Coach, quarterback. It's just the way it is. This horrible situation with the Jets that Sam Darnold's in, it's not his fault. It's the result of poor ownership decisions, terrible general managers in the past, terrible coaching hires. Adam Gase was brought in to develop Sam Darnold, which is mind-boggling to me because I can't name one NFL quarterback that Adam Gase has had a hand in developing. Can you? If you can, I would love to know who it is. Tell me in the comments below. Sam Darnold is the victim of his circumstance. Not only the circumstance of having no talent around him, but circumstances that occurred before he was even drafted by the Jets. Going into the 2018 draft, the Jets had the number 6 pick, and they gave up a haul, a boatload, to move up to number 3 to draft Sam Darnold. They sent their number 6 pick to Indianapolis, 2 second-round picks in the 2018 draft, and a second-round pick in the 2019 draft, just to move up 3 spots to draft Sam Darnold. Expectations are high when you're drafted as high as Sam Darnold was drafted, number 3. But they are even higher when the team that is drafting you gives up so much to select you. The Jets and their fans, they were expecting a megastar in Sam Darnold, a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes type player. Expectations were sky high. Instead, Sam Darnold, he's been more like a Josh Rosen. But just because expectations were high for Sam Darnold and they haven't been met, doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bust. Like I said, it is not his fault entirely. It's not all his fault. The guy was handed the keys to a franchise at 21 years old and told, "Here you go, kid. Go out and rescue this team." But what the Jets didn't tell him at the time was, "We're not going to give you any weapons. We're not going to give you a competent coaching staff. We're not going to give you an offensive line that can block for you. It's almost the equivalent of giving your 16-year-old kid keys to his car on his 16th birthday, but you fail to tell him that the car doesn't have any tires, the car doesn't have an engine, doesn't have a transmission. Sam Darnold has played with 17 different receivers, 18 different offensive linemen. He has went through 2 coaching staffs. He's never had a running back that's gained more than 800 yards in a season. Oh, and of course, obviously, he's never played with an offensive player that's made a Pro Bowl while they were with the Jets. The thing is, Sam Darnold has the talent. He's got the talent. A prime example of that was a play he made Sunday against Indianapolis, the lone bright spot for the Jets all day, all season really. He was flushed from the pocket, ended up scrambling towards his left. He ends up throwing the ball across the right of his body on the right side of the field, and he threw a damn dime to Braxton Berrios for a touchdown. It was an amazing play. And it was just an example of the talent and the playmaking ability that Sam Darnold has. We just haven't seen enough of it. Now, critics and angry Jets fans, which, let's be honest, Jets fans, they stay angry. And who can blame them? I mean, this team has been abysmal for most of my life. But critics and angry Jets fans, they'll point to the fact that Sam Darnold makes bad decisions, or Sam Darnold turns the ball over too much. It's time for a change at quarterback. That's what Jet fans are saying right now. Yes, Sam Darnold, he does turn the ball over a lot. Too much, really. That happens because all of the pressure to make plays is on him. He has the mindset that he's the only guy that can make things happen. And if he doesn't, then they don't have a chance to win. So of course he's going to force passes. Of course he's going to make some bad decisions. He doesn't have anyone else on the roster that can help him. He doesn't have a safety net. Le'Veon Bell, he's one of the most overpaid players in the NFL in terms of the dollars that he's being paid and the production level that he gives. Jamison Crowder at receiver, he's okay, but he's a number 2 receiver. He is not a number 1 receiver. I'd be willing to bet that most of you guys couldn't name another player on the Jets offense. You know who the number 2 receiver is on the Jets depth chart? Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan. 8 years in the NFL. He started a total of 35 games. And nearly half of those were in 2016 when he was with the Patriots. We are going into week 4. And Jets fans are already talking about the Jets tanking the season so they can go and draft Trevor Lawrence next year. Some Jets fans, they're just over the whole Sam Darnold experiment. But drafting Trevor Lawrence, that is not going to solve the Jets' problems. You would have some of the same problems with Trevor Lawrence as you have right now with Sam Darnold. A young quarterback with a bad coaching staff and no talent around him. If things don't turn around quickly this season, that scenario could happen, the Jets tanking. This is theoretically the final year of Sam Darnold's contract. May 2021, the Jets have to make a decision. They can either exercise their 5th-year option on his deal, which would give Sam Darnold a guaranteed salary of $25 million for the 2022 season, or, and if they end up with the number 1 pick in the draft, this is what will likely happen, they can trade Sam Darnold. Honestly, I think getting the hell out of the Jets organization would be the best thing that happened to Sam Darnold. It could revitalize his career. Let me take you on a brief history lesson. Back in 2005, there were 2 quarterbacks coming out of college that were getting all the hype. One was Aaron Rodgers, the other was Alex Smith. Alex Smith was drafted number 1 overall by the 49ers. And just like Sam Darnold, he came into the NFL with sky-high expectations and was expected to rescue a struggling franchise. And just like Sam Darnold, Alex Smith went through multiple coaching changes his first couple of years in the league, constantly changing offensive systems. It wasn't until Jim Harbaugh was hired by the 49ers that Alex Smith started having some success. And then, of course, the Niners, they end up trading him to Kansas City because they thought that Colin Kaepernick was going to be their franchise quarterback. Not a real smart decision in hindsight. Anyway, the change in scenery revitalized Alex Smith's career. He spent 5 years in Kansas City as the starting quarterback, made the playoffs 4 times. Sometimes, when you go through so much negativity with one organization, it's best to just move on and start fresh. If this season continues to go like it has for Sam Darnold, the best thing for him could be to just start fresh somewhere else. I'm still not ready to put the bust label on him. I think he's got real talent. I just think he needs to be somewhere where he can be developed, where they have a strong coaching staff that can bring out his strengths and play on a team that puts other talent around him. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Is Sam Darnold a bust? Or did he just get drafted by a god-awful organization and he's never really been given a chance to succeed? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Have any questions, a topic you'd like me to discuss, you can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.